Hey, Barry William Maglionetti, CEO and founder of the Game Changers and host of the Comeback Game podcast. In today's video, I want to share something a little bit different, and I want to share what are the 5 questions you should ask before hiring a business coach. No doubt if you're watching this right now, you are considering hiring some form of a coach or a mentor to assist you in your business to grow, which I think is an absolutely fantastic idea. You know, you look at the greatest athletes in the world, the greatest top performers in the world in anything, and they're all working with coaches and mentors because we don't know what we don't know, and often we're too close to the problem or we're too close to the situation to see a different perspective. And so, you know, working with a coach or a mentor can really help you to understand shortcomings or shortfalls of yourself that you may not be aware of. That being said, I've got a few notes here around some of the questions that I'd ask. And it's interesting, I've literally been on hundreds of sales calls, and surprisingly, out of all those sales calls, very rarely do I get asked many questions. And I think often the reason that a prospect doesn't ask me too many questions about me or about my certification or qualification is because there's an understanding on the phone or there's an understanding on the call, the conversation, the depth of knowledge that I do have around them or around their business through asking powerful questions. And there's something that I often say, and that is that if you can articulate to somebody, to a prospect, their problem better than they can themselves, they will unconsciously and automatically assume that you have the solution. Now think about it this way. If you go to a doctor, you know, you go to a doctor because you're sick and they write you a prescription. You don't tend to go to 2 other doctors and just back check their information or get a couple of scripts to see which one's the cheapest. You go to a doctor, they tell you what's going on, and they prescribe you a solution for that. And I think that's the way that it should be in any industry, whether you're buying a kitchen, you know, getting some plumbing done, or hiring a business coach. Yet often what happens is that there's so many people out there that really lack the knowledge, really lack the understanding, and equally too are too caught up in their own agenda in making a sale that creates skepticism and creates distrust when we're having the conversation that causes us to go elsewhere. The other side of this is often it's our own belief that gets stopped or caught up and prevents us from hiring someone because we're like, oh, well, these guys are fantastic, but will it really work for me? And so, you know, coming back to the business coach question is, you know, if you look online, you'll see that we've got like hundreds of testimonies from all different businesses and from all different business owners around the world. And there's a common theme that's shared amongst them, and that's that we help our clients to triple their revenue and profits and double their time off in 12 months or less. We've been doing this for a long time. Now, unfortunately, the industry is not regulated. The business coaching or life coaching industry in general is not regulated as yet. And so therefore, anyone that's got the ability to basically sign a client up can be a business coach, which is a bloody scary thing. So whether or not through watching this you decide to work with myself and the Game Changers, which I thoroughly hope you do, or someone else, it's not the point. The point I want to share here is around how can you understand whether or not the person you're speaking to is the right fit for you. And so there's a few questions I've written down here. One of the first questions that I ask is how long and how many hours have you spent coaching? Right? There's a lot of people that are quite new to coaching, which is all well and good, and they've all got to eat, they've all got to survive. Yet I just don't think that they should be practicing or learning with somebody else's livelihood, somebody else who is, you know, in pain or in struggle, or they've got this business in a situation, and someone comes along and speaks the talk, talks the talk, but it's not able to deliver results. So the first question is how long and how many hours have you spent coaching? I know for myself, I've been coaching now for like 8 or 9 years, and prior to that, I had my own business for about 10, 15 years, I think it was. And to date, I think I've done well over 15,000 hours of coaching. So it's really important to understand how long has someone been coaching for, and how many hours have they actually spent in the trenches coaching other people. The second question is ask them what they're like in business. When we're talking business coaching, what's their previous business coaching experience? Now, this is different to a life coach. We're talking business coaches now. So what's their previous experience in business? Like, have they had their own successful ventures to date? Have they built companies and sold companies? You know, how many people have they actually worked with? Like, what's their previous business experience? What training have they done? Have they gone through potentially diplomas in business. Not that I necessarily recommend that's like the prerequisite, but have they done, scaling up training or EOS training? Have they, just read some books? Like, what's their previous experience in business? Be okay to ask them the questions. The next question is like, who do you help? As a coach, who do you help? And how do you help them? Because this is going to start to give you an understanding of their methodology, their blueprint, or the way they go about doing things. If they start saying, well, hey, like, we help everyone, and how do you help? Oh, well, we can help them through any means. They're being very broad. Like, you want to get some specificity. Now, although if you look at the Game Changers business, we very much do help a lot of different people. We kind of specialize in helping trades businesses and professional services. We have a lot of clients that are in trades businesses, plumbers, electricians, builders, architects, landscapers, but we also have this other diverse range of clients who we've had for a long time, which is like mortgage brokers and accountants and financial planners and gym owners, marketing agencies. So, who do you help and how do you help them? And what you're looking for here is not so much the business coach sharing with you stories, but probably them asking you questions, diving back into your world. Because if they go into starting to answer too many of those questions, they're almost going into validation rather than, for me, if I was asked that question, I'd be like, well, that's a great question. Tell me a bit more about your specific problems and what you're going through right now. Because there needs to be a match between you and them. I think ultimately you need to be able to feel a connection with the person that you're going to build this trusting and in many ways intimate relationship with, devouring all your secrets and all your challenges and problems and all your dreams and aspirations within business. The fourth question is, what's your success rate in helping your clients achieve their outcomes? What's your success rate in helping your clients achieve your outcomes? Now, here is the scariest thing, is that we researched this about 2 years ago, and we found out that majority of the larger business coaching organizations had a 5% success rate on helping their clients achieve their outcomes, and 95% didn't get there or fell short of it. And this was something at the time that I heard that, I was just absolutely gobsmacked and made a conscious decision that we would flip that and we would find a way to achieve 95% success and 5%, shortfall of that. And I think if someone shares with you they have a 100% success rate, that's probably a red flag. Now, I'm not saying it's not true, but to me it'd be a red flag. And I'd be wanting to do a lot more investigation, interview a lot more clients, follow them around a lot more, because I'm yet to find someone who's helped every single client achieve and over exceed their goals, ourselves included. We have a very, very, very high success rate, but there's always some clients that are unwilling to implement. There's always some clients that are unwilling to follow through on your process or procedure, and those people you can't help. So you can have a program that works, you can have a blueprint, a strategy, a system that works, but you're always going to find some clients that are unwilling to do what it takes to get the results in business. And lastly, the question I'd ask is, what will we focus on first? Like, if we were to work together, what's the first thing we're going to focus on? And once again, what you're looking for here is not some generic answer, but maybe some more exploration into your world. One of the first things that we do is we actually go through an assessment process, because what we've found is that many business owners can share with you what their problems are, yet often their problems are symptoms of the actual problem. They're not the real problem. So they might have a problem which is cash flow, but the cash flow is never the problem. The problem is, what's their lead cost, what's their sales conversion, what's their profitability per product or per service. What's their delivery time? There's something else that's causing the cash flow issues. How are they managing their money? How are they, managing their tax obligations and super obligations and paying their staff, remunerating their staff and things like that? So the last question would be like, what would we focus on first? If we were to work together, what do you feel we'd focus on first? And what I'd be looking for there is someone that asks you questions to start to understand where you're coming from, and doesn't just agree. Like if you say, oh, look, I've got issues with my sales, if they turn around and say, I would focus on your sales, I'd be wanting a lot more insights in that, because that lets me know that in many ways they're just telling me what I want to hear rather than actually taking the time to ask questions. And it's impossible on a call to be super, super clear. And this is why for us, we do go deep on those first few calls with our clients, but then it's through the assessment period and what we call a launch pad. When every new client joins us, they go through a launch pad, which is a series of small videos, 3 to 10 minutes long, And those videos help the client to further self-diagnose, because no one knows their business better than them. And those videos help them to look at different aspects of the business in different ways, and in many ways self-diagnose what's going on. And that's why we have such a high success rate of our clients achieving and over-exceeding their goals in many ways, because we know what's possible for them per business, per industry. But we also have a way of kind of being able to decouple all of the preconceptions of what's actually wrong and gets to what's wrong. So I guess, you know, through this video, as I said, like whether you choose to work with the game changers or not is totally up to you. I really hope that you do. But either way, more than that, I hope that you actually succeed in business and kick your goals and create a business that is both, you know, somewhat predictable, profitable, and can operate with or without you. If you are interested to know a little bit more around the game changers, how we're different, and go through our process, we'll put a link somewhere below this where you can apply for a 15-minute application call to a game plan. Basically what happens is we have a 2-step process. The 15-minute call, we just want to ask you a bunch of questions and just get a bit of a broad overview of where you're at and what's going on in business. From that, we'll get a good feeling of whether or not you're someone we can help and whether or not you're someone we want to help. If all goes well on that call, we'll look at then booking an hour call where we dive a lot deeper into your business, where you're at, where you want to go, and starting to understand, you know, what's happened in the past that's prevented you from getting there, and what we might need to put in place to help you to get there. And you know, if after that call, both you and us feel that we're a good fit, we can look at welcoming you into our program and help you to triple your profits and double your time off in 12 months or less, providing that you're willing to implement and put things in place. But either way, hope this video has been of value. If you are looking to hire some form of a coach, there's some questions there. And ultimately, I touched on it before, I think trust your intuition, trust your gut instinct, trust your intuition. If something doesn't quite seem right, it's probably not right. So trust your intuition. If things are feeling good, follow with that, and I'm sure that there'll be breakthroughs and lessons and learnings through there for you. My name is Barry William Magdalene, CEO of the Game Changers and host of the Comeback Game podcast. If you're not yet on our podcast, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the Comeback Game podcast, either on iTunes, on Spotify, or any one of the podcasting channels, because we have some incredible interviews with some rock star business owners and entrepreneurs, and it'll provide you great insights into many areas of your business and life that you haven't even thought about. And I believe that, you know, we are the equivalent of the top 5 people we hang around with, and hang around some people like that and get their insights and their beliefs and their understandings around business and what they've been through and how they've come through it will help to fast track your journey as well. So that's it for me. I look forward to seeing you on the next one of these videos soon. Bye for now.